Marines, Colonial Marines is a sequel to one of the most beloved films of all time, and it's a sequel in video game form.
A lot of people that will play our game probably weren't alive when this movie came out, but I think some of the things that have made it hold up is its overall presentation. Its concept is just appealing. It goes right back to that core thing that you want with video games. I want to be that guy. I want to do those things. I want to be in that world.
Well, I think it's one of the sort of originators of this idea of the Space Marine. For us, I think it's finally being in the boots of these guys, really being in the boots of these soldiers and playing just against the Xenos, and finally have their chance to be in this world like they've always wanted to be.
The Colonial Marines are awesome. You know, they're the ultimate badass. And being that, using the weaponry, the gear, the hardware that they have, it's really cool. It's held up really well. Cameron did an amazing job designing things that are very relatable.
It was so good. It was so authentic, so real. I bought it all. You bought it all, and it's this crazy science fiction thing, you know.
I can say this with no equivocations. There's not an alien that's that cool. There's not a design of an alien that cool anywhere. The invention of CG did not make aliens cooler. Like, we almost forget. Like, you see all these movies, and you're like, oh, it's kind of neat. But it's terrifying.
Scared the living piss out of me. But it was awesome.
Everything feels so real and so grounded, and it just feels solid.
And the design of the science fiction, so clever and so natural.
Everything is just very convincing.
You can't really do drop ships and stuff today without, you can't do better than that. Even Cameron himself in Avatar, it's basically riffing off of his own stuff.
This is something that's near and dear to many, many, many people, and they want a good presentation. They want something that's really, really cool.
As a fan, it's precious to me, and it's precious to everyone. And I know the fans are so rabid, and that we care so much about the thing that inspired us. And even though there's things that each individual person might have done differently, the fact that it's a sequel and a new story gives us that ability. If we were retelling the thing in the movie, that would have been tough. But because it's a new story, and because we've given ourselves these kind of vectors of angles, it kind of lets us kind of have a little more liberty to bring something new to it and to invent, and I'm excited about that. And I think fans are going to be too.
We've been designing new xenomorphs to add to the canon. That's huge, right? I mean, because don't mess that up. This is a canon game, you know, so anything that we do is official Bible at this point. That's an enormous responsibility. So in my mind, that's the risk element, is to make sure that the things that we're doing are the things that people want us to be doing, you know, and are going to be looking at and going, cool, I can't believe you guys did that. Yes.
We are going to board the Sulaco. We are going to revisit Hadley's Hope and go to LV-426. I've got to get inside that derelict. I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to talk about that yet, but forgive me. There's a spoiler. The derelict's in the game. All right, I put that out there now. I can't take it back. We're gonna get to do these things, but that's not the end. Those are actually just kind of like backgrounds and means to the end. They're opportunities for fun. You know, it's a fun moment when you kind of realize, like you're running through a corridor and you realize, holy crap, this is the same ventilation system that they were in the film, and oh God, all this mess here. That's where Vasquez and Gorman martyred themselves. Holy f***, like, but that's it. That's not the front. The front is what you're doing and what you're involved in this whole new storyline with these new characters and these new situations. And some of the creative risks are bringing new things to it.
Everyone else is dead or close to it, sir.
Sorry to hear that, kid. Regroup and get your ass back to the Sephora.
What we commit ourselves to is, first, look, it needs to be an authentic, legitimate, correct Aliens experience. And so you can play the game by yourself, and it's great. And as creators, yes, we can commit ourselves to our narrative and commit ourselves to the crafted experience, but let's let our players enjoy it too, and they'll manage their own fun, right? And if people want to get together and just frat house it up and run through it, these are cool spaces, and it's a lot of fun to run through and kill shit in them.
You know, if you separate, you're going to be less effective than if you're together, you know, to protect each other and that kind of stuff. So it's one of those things where it almost works better because there is co-op, you know, because you can share that experience.
And if you want to get all immersive, play by yourself or commit to it with a buddy where you guys know what you're doing together and you're both committing to that experience. And it can be cool in a lot of different ways.
You've got these great monsters. They can come from anywhere, you know, they're kind of the ultimate boogeyman. They can maneuver and navigate through the world in ways that allows them to get really close before they're exposed. Also, straight within the canon, we've got the motion tracker. Great cinematic element. Wow, thanks for making that gameplay mechanic for us, James. That was awesome. you're tracking it, you got the gun up, and then there's that magic moment where it's close enough where you drop the tracker and you got the gun out, and you're like, okay, is it going to come through that hole in the ceiling? Is it going to come from there? Where is it going to come from? And you're ready, and you're all ramped up, and then nothing happens. And you're like, what's going on? You know, and you pull the tracker back up and you're looking and everything's kind of gone dead for a second, and then all of a sudden there's motion and you flip it down, Xeno comes out of the wall at you and you're fighting and you're shooting it and all this kind of stuff. That's great, right? It's the ability to make the player feel both empowered, but also all these tension moments where you're scared to death.
You get a lot of good action out of that. You get a lot of good horror. You get a lot of good just human drama based on caring about these people and developing these people. 95% of the story in Aliens Colonial Marines is told inline. There's not really that many cutscenes, and if they are, they're there for a very specific purpose. But if you watch Aliens, a lot of what develops with the characters is in the action. A lot of times you'll be in a fight, and they'll be reacting to what they're doing in the situation. But there's also like they're talking about what's happening in the plot and how to move forward and what their objectives are to like not die. It's making sure that we're pushing all the time on plot while you're playing.
I know that we've been talking about this game for a bit now, and there's been a lot of people that have anticipated it since it was first announced. I think the deal was announced before we even wrote the first line of code, actually, but we're almost there, and we're very excited about it. It's coming on the Xbox 360, the PlayStation 3, Windows PC, and it's also coming for Nintendo's new platform, the Wii U. And we'll have more information about the different editions of the game and the actual official date before too long.